EV bikes that we had, the batteries just blasted, and there were about 9 or 10 bikes that I had in the office which are getting charged. Everything was burned down to ashes. The entire office was burnt down.
Now, game two, profit or loss. Why do you think the biggest opportunities are actually in this kind of sectors?
We did not have people, we did not have assets. All the money that was poured into this business was actually burnt, and every single rupee was burnt, and I could actually see those flames. I can still recall that visual. I mean, I'm getting goosebumps
Yeah.
now. Immediately fire. Please don't keep. Maybe just take a pause, take a step back, understand what was happening, and come back again. It's just fabulous. It's one of the most beautiful places that I've ever seen. In fact, I ended up having an accident because I was trying to deliver multiple orders in the same time, and I ended up having a rod being, so there was a rod which actually got stuck in the skull.
If I own a restaurant, what are the top three problems I face daily?
That's when the thinking started shifting from survival to building and then structuring. The moment you say, आपके पास आपका resume है, CV है, biodata है, बोलते सर आपको मेरा आधार कार्ड चाहिए क्या? मैं आधार कार्ड देता हूँ.
I just want to know how did you reach out to your first initial customers, 10 or 50 or 20? What is your mindset like? Is it like something bad happened? Is it always happens to me, or bad happened to me but I have to bounce back again? So what is it like? From delivery riders to kitchen staff and full scale recruitment systems. Here's the truth. Most restaurants don't fail because of food, they fail because of operations. What really happens behind the scenes of hiring in India? Why is finding reliable staff still broken in 2026? And can a single platform actually solve hiring, delivery, and operations together? If you are building anything in India, this episode will change how you think about people, systems, and scale. Stay till the end because this is where business meets ground reality. Hello, sir. Welcome to Founders Room, and hello everyone who is watching. Welcome to the Founders Room. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do subscribe it so that I can bring some of the amazing guests like Amit to the show, and together we can learn more. Hello, sir.
Hello, and thank you so much, Abhinan, for inviting me over for this podcast. And thank you for
Yes,
the
sir.
lovely
Pleasure is mine, sir.
prelude that you've given for the hospitality industry hiring.
Yes, sir. Thank you,
Yes.
sir. Before we begin, I just wanna me along with my audience wanna know who you are, what you do, without mentioning your work.
What do I do without mentioning the work?
Your work. I mean, just take us back to your background.
Okay. So, Abhinan, I've been a banker primarily for almost about 27 odd years. I started as a customer service associate, taking telephone calls, solving customer queries in a bank. And then, with the number of years, with the kind of appreciations in the job, by the time I moved out of banking in about 27 years, I was a vice president, and it was majorly taking care of the processes of international banking. So, right from a customer service associate who was taking calls to ensure that the customer's problems are taken care of and resolved, moving ahead in life as a team leader, as a unit manager, an assistant manager, so on and so forth, to becoming a vice president at one point of time, who was ensuring that all the problems that an NRI customer or a retail banking customer faces, whether they are trying to transfer money from their location to their home location in India, or whether it was an Indian customer at that point of time to trying to get a checkbook. Back then checkbooks were pretty huge. Resolving their problems as far as possible in as little time as possible was the primary requirement even back then. And even when I became a VP, where I was actually the process head, the product head, even at that point of time, it was only about trying to resolve the customer's needs in certain cases. Rather, in majority of the cases, it was the unspoken need of the customer that had to be resolved. So just to give you an example, if a customer says, I was looking for a checkbook immediately because I want to make a home loan payment at that point of time when they were applying for a home loan. What it simply meant was they were looking for a payment option to be given to the home loan, guys, and it was not necessary that the checkbook had their own name or account number. What they needed was a check to be given to the home loan guy. This was the unspoken need.
Yep.
So
Yep. Yep.
resolving
Yep.
that query without really taking 7 days time or 5 days time or trying to personalize the checkbook was the requirement, and that's what has been my journey even from that back then to the current date where I have, I have my own company where I try and resolve the problem of hiring for the hoteliers. Majority of them are still unspoken needs, and it is up to us to understand what are they trying to say without really saying it. It's the pain point that we need to catch and deliver from there on. That's what has
Amazing.
been
So
my
you
background.
have, sorry, you have 27 years of experience.
27 years of banking experience, and in the last about, if I have to say, about 7 to 8 years, has primarily been into the hospitality industry. Although I was, if I have to say, within the banking industry, also I was connected somewhere to the industry in such a way that I was, a loans process head. So I knew that there were certain people who were looking to open hotels, cafes. They were looking for loans. So somewhere I was connected, and I knew the industry from there.
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. Because I'm 29 years old. You almost got similar to my age. Similar experience to my age. So
I am
yep.
almost touching 50 now.
Great. Great. Wish you a long life though. So all your life it's been the customer. You're customer centric all your life.
Yes, majorly it has been customer centric for me right from the start.
Amazing. Amazing. So we have three segments in this. Segment one is more about you and mindset, and segment two is more about the company. And there is also a small game section over there, over here as well. So now let's start with the segment one. Nothing is going to be tough. So what is something about the hospitality industry that outsiders completely underestimate?
The hospitality industry, if I have to say, majority of the people who speak about hospitality or hotel industry, for them it is more about, they think that it is more about food, the ambience, or probably the Instagram worthy interiors. uh, this is what most people outside, the industry think about. But actually a restaurateur would be ideally knowing this. It is more of a people execution business. A restaurant might have the best chef, the best menus, they might have the best interiors, but if the waiter or the server who is probably serving a particular dish to the family or someone who's sitting over there as a guest is rude, or is serving in a way that, it probably shows that, this is a disrespect to the person who's the guest over there. It simply
Yeah,
disasters. If I can say, it is a disaster when it comes to the experience of the customer. And most
true.
outsiders may not understand this, but a restaurant guy would definitely understand this. There are quite a few things, I mean, that happens in a restaurateur's life. uh,
Yeah, yeah,
every single day is unpredictable. Staff may not show up. Peak hours may hit
true.
suddenly. A chef may leave without a notice, or probably a customer's expectation is from perfection. And it's not
True.
just about serving the food; it is also about managing that. The bed was not properly made, or the sachets that you usually have in a resort, a tea or a coffee sachet, it was not there.
Yeah.
Or in certain cases, the shower was not working. I mean, this could be the
Okay.
daily struggle of a restaurateur, which most people on the outside would not notice.
I mean, I know these struggles because I used to work. I mean, I used to be a assistant manager in one of the German doner kebabs. It is a big chain in
Mhm.
the UK. When I was in the UK, I used to work over there as a assistant manager. So I know these struggles, how they are like. So yeah, they are true actually.
So you
So
relate to it.
people will leave all the time. They don't even intimate if they leave it. So,
That's right.
yeah. Before building this, what was your first real exposure to how broken hiring actually is?
So building this, I mean, what I what I actually understood was that, as I mentioned, my background has always been into customer operations, customer service. So I naturally started observing things on the ground level. So when I entered this space as an entrepreneur, I realized that hiring wasn't just structured at all. There were no proper interviews. There was no verification which was happening. There was no backup planning that I could see. Most restaurant owners, they were hiring through references, maybe a WhatsApp forward, or probably urgent calls like, "भाई कोई बंदा है क्या भेज दे? Can you please send someone to work tomorrow?" I mean, that's not
Okay.
hiring. That's kind
True,
of a
true.
firefighting. And because of that, the same problems kept repeating. The staff kept leaving. There were poor performances, no accountability. That's when I realized it's not a small gap. It's actually a broken system. That's where the realization came from.
And do you also train them or
Yes, we do. It's an extended work, if I have to say, arm of our business.
okay. Good, good. I mean, you train according to where they are actually working it.
Exactly. So what happens is, uh, majority of, as I mentioned, this is most of the restaurants or hoteliers, they actually say, just send me a guy. But then most of the time, what happens is someone who's probably working or has been working in a day in day out diner restaurant, like for example, someone who's working in a restaurant which serves breakfast, lunch, evening snacks and tea and dinner, and probably closes at 10:30, 11 in the night. This guy, if he's been working in a atmosphere which is completely chaotic in the morning till evening, he's constantly running around taking orders, probably serving the customer, ensuring that once the customer's table has been emptied, there's another walking in, and then there's another order coming in. If you put this guy who's been running around the entire day and receiving tips throughout the entire day into, say, a boutique resort or a hotel where probably people come in only on a weekend and they come there to unwind, uh, usually it is only for 2 days, 3 days, 2.5 days. They come in with a family, they come in with a group, and so they will order, or they will have a pre-scheduled order, a breakfast which is a buffet. They'll have probably an
Yeah.
a la carte lunch, or a set lunch menu, and then there would be a dinner. In certain cases, there might not be evening snacks. There would not be a lunch menu because they've already gone out somewhere. This guy who's worked in a restaurant will not be able to work in a resort because, one, he's used to daily tips. He's used to daily running around. Whereas in a resort, he's got about 4 days which are almost empty and no tips at all. He can't see people around him.
Yeah, yeah.
At the same time, he's going to receive much lesser tips as compared to what he was receiving in a restaurant. This guy would actually get bored. So you send a person from here who's working in a restaurant to, say, a resort in, say, Kasoli or Manali, for 15, 20 days, or for that 2 months when there's enough season, he'll be happy. But the moment that season comes to a slower season, or there are lesser guests, he'll start looking for options immediately. And the same goes vice versa. As someone who's worked for a resort or a Keys hotel, if you try to put that guy who's designed to work in a process manner only for specific number of days, or give a premium experience to a particular guest and all, you put that person into a chaotic atmosphere, this guy will not be able to work. So that's not the right fit for the right profile. We do work on that.
True. So it's been around 10 years. Is it 7 years or 10 years?
7 years, yeah.
So in 7 years' time, have you ever thought that this might not going to work? And any moment at any point of time, did you ever think that this kind of system might not work?
Yeah, there has been. Um, so in 2023, there was this problem, that we faced. So we started off as a last mile delivery company, which was only providing delivery riders to, restaurants for their direct orders, not through uh, aggregator apps. So the restaurants were getting direct orders, and we were providing them the delivery riders. So this was going on for quite some time. We actually scaled it up for 2.5 years, and then in April 2023, one of the EV bikes that we had, the batteries just blasted, and there were about 9 or 10 bikes that I had in the office which are getting charged. Everything was burned down to ashes. The entire office was burnt down. Uh, we actually faced a lot of, if I have to say, losses. There was too much of stress, pressure. Um, these bikes were not insured because these were low speed bikes. Um, so we were going through every possible, you can say, stress that could have been there. We did not have people, we did not have assets. All the money that was poured into this business was actually burnt, and every single rupee was burnt, and I could actually see those flames. I can still recall that visual. I mean, I'm getting goosebumps
Yeah.
now. It was horrific for me. At that point of time, there were two ways to go about it. One, break down and close it off.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
other, maybe just take a pause, take a step back, understand what was happening, and come back again. Okay, learn from whatever has happened and take it right from the start. Because if I do that, I would not be starting without experience. I would now be starting with some amount of experience and a whole lot of customers who have already been there with me. So I
Yeah.
thought,
Yeah.
why not, try and take this one step again. Yes, it was difficult. We started our operations in less than 36 to 48 hours, if I have to say. We only started with
Amazing.
three bikes. So I had my own ice bike. There was one bike that, one of the riders had. There are two bikes that the two of the other riders had. So we started again with ice bikes. And even our server it was a locally placed server in the office where we used to take those orders on the app. So even the server was burned down. So what we did was we actually started, creating WhatsApp groups for every restaurant that we had as a client, and they would place their order by, posting the customer's address and whatever is the amount that needs to be collected, and we would pick up the order from the restaurant, deliver it to the customer, ensure that the scanner of the restaurant was there so that the customer can pay it off. And we tried to do this, but trust me, with where we had about 15, 16 bikes which were burned down,
Yeah.
9, 10 of them were complete EVs, and the rest were, you know, bikes from others, ice bikes and all that. To three bikes managing 90 plus customers on an average 115, plus orders is not easy. In fact, I ended up having an accident because I was trying to deliver multiple orders in the same time, and I ended up having a rod being, so there was a rod which actually got uh, stuck in the skull. So that was a very difficult time for us, despite having those fire incident problems, despite trying to restart the operations. It was just not happening. So what we did was we actually shut down for about 8 months. There was no operations,
Okay.
but then came the, if I have to say, the catalyst change over here. The restaurants who were still our clients, they were stating, "Why don't you start this again?" But while these 8 months we were not working, they actually stated, "Can you provide us staff? Because we need staff constantly." Someone would constantly call up and say, भाई आपने है ना बंद कर दिया है, लेकिन आपके पास कोई स्टाफ है क्या जो मेरे पास काम कर सकता है?" So they
जी.
wanted various
जी.
different staff. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay, fine. I have all these databases. I have the numbers. I keep getting these applications who don't want to be a rider, but they want some other job in a restaurant or a hotel. Initially, I started giving them as references. But then when I realized what is the requirement over here, that's when I stated, why not, start again with this as the next step. It was anyways an extension to what we were doing. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's how
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
restarted again. Uh, in about 8 or 9 months after that incident, we actually had about 3 seats in a co-working space initially, when we started again in February 24. Okay, and in about 3 months we got this office, which is again, it's a rented space, but then at the end of the day it is our own now. We have about 10 to 11 people who have been with our team now, and from 80 or 90 restaurants which were only specific to a particular location in Ambernath, Ulhasnagar. Today we have about 1200 plus hotels, restaurants, lounge bars, cafes, resorts who have been our clients, and this is without a single day of marketing. We've hardly marketed our services. Whatever clients that we have received is mostly because of references. We have given, certain process to the entire hiring in the industry, and because of that process, every client has ended up giving us at least two more references. That's how we are still over here now.
Yeah, yeah, yes, sir. I mean, this is the uh, this is a classic case of network effect. So this is how it goes actually. So in the beginning, you won't know anyone, but down 5 years down the line, 2 years down the line, the network is going to blast and it is going to compound over in a single go. Yeah. So in 2014, when you started, were you building a company or just solving problems one day at a time like this?
So when we started, we were only building, we were only solving problems. So majority of the, if I have to say, entrepreneurs, they actually start by solving a problem.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Honestly, the vision was not very big. It was purely solving problem, one client, one issue, one day at a time. One rider didn't show up, we arranged one. If a restaurant needed an urgent staff, we were not providing staffing at that point in time. We would just say, okay, fine, go ahead, do this. So there was no startup scale plan per se. It was about solving problems. It was very raw, very operational. But over time, yes, the problems kept coming again and again. We realized this is not a random thing; it is a pattern, and patterns can be systemized. And thankfully, because of
True,
my
true.
banking background, where I have been instrumental in creating processes, that's when the thinking started shifting from survival to building and then structuring. And obviously the fire incident obviously helped in understanding, okay, you can't just build like this, you have to structure it, you have to systemize it. That's how it has been there.
I mean, when we are in this topic, while we are in this topic, I want to ask you that what is your mindset like? Is it like something bad happened? Is it always happens to me, or bad happened to me, but I have to bounce back again? So, what is it like?
Okay, Abhinan, what when this fire incident happened, or there are, see, every entrepreneur goes through certain amount of problems. The point is, do you actually think that this is happening to me, or is it, why is this happening to me, or is it that, you know what, any business cannot be set up without facing certain problems. So yes, the mindset was always there. There could be problems and there have to be solutions, and I've been a solution fighter right from the start, because obviously, the background, the kind of, if I have to say, systematic behavior that kind of evolved when I was even in banking. It was about understanding the problem, solving it without really the person saying this is a problem.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when it came to me, obviously it became far more of a realization that, this problem is not a problem just to be taken and, solved one at a time. It has to be systemized. So
True.
it was not why me, it was about, okay, let's try me. Okay. And I've always maintained this aspect. There is this particular quote that I've always been thinking, or have been, I can say that I imbibed it. Adversity is also the mother of opportunity. So
True. True.
usually
Yeah.
people say it
Amazing.
is the, adversity could be difficult, but it is also the mother of new opportunities, and that's what I've tried.
True. 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 Um, I mean, I asked you this because most of my friends or most of my network and most of people who are watching are currently in early stages of building their companies. And while they are in early stages, they haven't seen much of the trouble or much of these problems evolve as of right now. But they will, for sure, they will face some problems in the future. So this will help them out, and this will help me out as well in the future, in the long run. So I want my friends all to keep in mind that we are going to face problems, but uh, if you can't handle it, let's share it. We can at least try to handle it together.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So, yeah.
I mean,
What did your first 10 customers look like?
the first 10 customers were actually people who did not believe that I can probably, give them that delivery rider services. They were like small restaurants who were first, they were doubting the capability. Can I give them that rider services if they are directly getting the orders? Because Let's accept the fact that around 7 8 years back, people had already started getting used to food aggregator apps, and
True.
the fact that they don't really need to call up the restaurant directly now. There was once a people used to call up the restaurant, and someone from the restaurant would cycle to the customer and give their food. But then came Food Panda, which was the first ever food delivery moderator in India, and then the Swiggies and Zomatos of the world. But then this part of the delivery service where the customers directly call up the restaurant of their choice, which is closest to them,
Yeah.
and then the restaurant gives them the order without charging a delivery charge. That was always there. Okay, it's just that I got that back to the fore. So the initial 10 customers, they were small cafes, small restaurants, QSRs, which did not have their own delivery rider. They wanted to save on the aggregator commissions. They wanted to ensure that those loyal customers who have been there, the legacy customers of their dad, mom, the ones
Restaurant.
who were always ordering, suddenly their sons or their daughters were also ordering, but they were ordering through an aggregator app. But then if they were able to get this back through a different channel, they were happy with it, and that's what my initial 10 customers looked like.
True. I mean, there used to be Food Panda, right, for us in the
The
beginning.
first one to come in India, if I recall correctly, was Food Panda, and then there
What
were others.
what happened to it?
Somewhere, I think it did not innovate, or probably, if I have to say, majority of the first movers, what happens is they come in with a specific idea, and then they get stuck with the idea, or probably they are not able to market it properly. But then someone who's coming behind them sees whatever has been the initial mistakes, corrects that mistakes, and then moves forward with it. And that's what
Yeah.
if I have to say, Zomatos and Swiggies of the world did it. Although, if you see, it is also something which has been taken from Grab from Norway, which was probably one of the first food aggregator apps,
Yeah.
what I know. I mean,
Um,
there could be any
it is
other,
like
but
Uber.
this is to my limited knowledge.
True, true, true.
That's how it
I
works.
mean, copying is not bad, but it's good.
Yeah.
Sir, you worked with delivery riders, kitchen staff, and operators, right? So, what is something you saw on ground level that most founders sitting in AC rooms will never understand?
The one thing that majority of if I have to say, the moment you say that you have an idea, the first thing that you have to do is that, you have to understand it's not just an idea. You have to actually have that mindset to execute it by coming on the ground, rolling your sleeves, and stating that first, let me do it. Okay, and then you would have the kind of realization as to how well can that be done. I mean, someone who's actually sitting in an office would probably find that, okay, I'll make this on a spreadsheet, or I'll make this on something which is probably going to be a pitch deck, and I'll probably show it to maybe one of the investors, and that's how we take it forward from there on. Once there is investment, things will start working and all that. But that's not how it happens.
True. True.
It's actually when you actually go on the ground, identify what is the actual problem, identify what could be the solution for it. See, solutions
Hmm.
are also something that is majority of the times it is given by the actual customer that you are trying to cater to. It's just that how you structure it. Majority of these founders, or someone who's probably sitting in an office, may find that they have a problem, they are looking at a possible solution, but maybe they don't know where the problem is actually bigger or the opportunity is bigger. Where is the competition, whether it is structured or not? Problems, are they real or urgent, or are they just on paper? And that's probably one of the bigger problems that most people who sitting in an office may not be able to identify.
I just want to know how did you reach out to your first initial customers, 10 or 20? How did you reach out to them?
So when we had actually put all this on paper, that actually happened in the midst of the pandemic. Okay, uh, the company was majorly registered as initially as a bike taxi, and the secondary service was supposed to be food delivery, grocery essentials delivery. But then the lockdown just struck in, and we were stuck for about 7 8 months. We actually had to start our operation. Although the company registered in June 2020, we had to start our operations in July 2021 during the second wave, and we actually had to start it with the secondary. If I have to say the plan, the bike taxi plan was shared. So we actually started with the food delivery plan, but then obviously this was again still during uh, the tapering wave of the lockdown period. People were ordering from restaurants and hotels, but they were pretty worried about what they want to order or which hotel or restaurant that they want to order. And this is where the QSRs, the smaller restaurants, the ones who did not have staffing, they were struggling because they wanted to save on that aggregator commission, but they wanted to also reach out to the customer. So when I approached them, there was some amount of doubt that इसके पास तो दो ही बाइक है, ये करेगा कैसे, या फिर इसके पास बाइक है, हमने उसको खाना बना के दे दिया, ये मेरे को बोल रहा है कि इसके पास ऐप है, ये कस्टमर के पास पहुंचाएगा कैसे, और कस्टमर ने मुझे अभी तक पेमेंट नहीं दिया है, पेमेंट ये लेके आएगा मेरे लिए, एक्चुअली पेमेंट ला के देगा, या फिर मैं खाने का भी पैसा गवा दूंगा, कस्टमर का भी पैसा गवा दूंगा. So these were the doubts that they had in their mind. But when I, actually started delivering, because I started doing this along with my partner, who is also my partner in, the as a director of operations over here. Her name is Nidhi. So both of us, we started with two bikes, two electric bikes. She used to take orders. I used to take orders only from 7 in the evening till 12 in the midnight, and it was for about five customers, five clients initially. Okay, but those five clients, they were not obviously they were not able to completely trust on us. So on an average we would end up getting just about 4 5 7 orders in the initial few days, 3 4 to her, 3 4 to me. Okay, in about a 7 hour shift. But then when they actually started noticing that it's not just the customers who are getting these orders delivered, we are asking the customer to pay directly to the restaurant on the scanner in certain cases, or if they pay cash, we go and give this cash back to the customer stating that this is your cash, this is your customer's review, and I've actually stated, can you please review this restaurant on Google. So they
Okay. Yeah.
actually got an additional value add on the amount that you were paying me for that particular
True.
delivery service.
True.
And
True.
that extended to many more restaurants coming to know about our service through word of mouth.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
how it was. And then obviously the
So
number of people started increasing, the bike started increasing, we started hiring more riders. That's how it started.
so someone like me, I'm just start. Let's say I'm starting out and I wanna. I'm in B2B and I wanna find a customer. Okay. And how should it look like? I mean, there is going to be different domains, but I just wanna know what should be my mindset and how should I look for a customer.
I mean, although I would not be I wouldn't call myself, that experienced to say or give gyan on this. But then what I supposedly feel, because right from the time that I have started, is that please do not start a startup because you feel that you want to take it and become a big company, or you feel that you have to, maybe get funding from a particular investor and then scale it to a level and then exit. If you want to really start something and ensure that you have that entrepreneurial mindset, please start looking for that one problem that the customer is actually facing. But before that, you want to understand who is your real customer. So when you have an idea, and ideas, as mentioned by Mr. Dhirubhai Ambani, they are nobody's, if I have to say, they cannot be anyone's personal wealth. Idea can be taken by anyone. Okay, it can be imbibed by anyone. You say something, probably in a sentence, I get an idea, I develop it into a complete plan. But then is that plan actually solving a problem? Is that actually problem solving for a particular target group of customers or a target group of clients? And third, is it really required to solve? But most important, will the client, will the customer that you are looking for pay for this solution that you are offering? If you have these four things, clarity on these four things, it's that point that you realize, okay, fine, now you can create a startup. That's where you create your own pitch deck. That's when you start approaching people to validate whether this is really a problem that requires to be solved, and will someone actually pay for it. If someone is ready to pay for it, and if it is a large section of customers who are ready to pay for that particular solution, which is may not be unique, because nothing is unique in this current connected world. It is all connected to some or the other solution that someone else probably has been offering to someone or the other client too. But if it is unique to your particular area and you are able to give that to the particular customers, they are able to pay you, yes, then go ahead and start it. Else, you will face a lot of issues. It's just going to be married to the idea, and then you will keep blaming that I'm not able to do this, or probably blame the world that they are not able to understand my idea.
Yeah. And I also wanna add that yes, yes, yeah. I mean, customers will pay for it, but you also have to bring a value in some or the other way. As you mentioned, right? So you bought value through reviews for them. So in the same way, we can also bring some values if we are capable of doing it. If not, it's okay sticking with just for money. So, and a lot of founders want to build startups, okay,
Yes.
but avoid messy industries like this. I wouldn't say this messy, but kind of tough place to crack, tough nut to crack, like they say.
Yes.
So why do you think the biggest opportunities are actually in these kind of sectors?
Um, as you rightly mentioned, yes, it's a messy industry, because majority of the people don't want to get into all these things. Because one, see, let's understand one thing: hiring for any company, any industry, has always been there. It's not something that I have created today or someone has never heard of it. Uh, but then hiring for hotel industry, it was also there before I came into the picture. It was always there much before you and I were even born. Okay. The point is that whether it is messy and how messy is it, or whether this mess is actually a gold mine or not. All right. It's just about, if I have to say, I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm not getting the right words over here. But
Okay, it's okay.
the more the mess, the more the opportunity over here.
True, true, true,
So
true.
when you have a lot of mess, you also have a lot of opportunity to ensure that this mess is solved. And when you know how to solve a particular mess, that's when you are able to find the opportunity in that problem.
Yeah.
Uh,
And I want to add that when there is mess, there is also not much competition, although I encourage having competition, but when there is a mess, actually the competition is going to be a little bit uh, in the lower side.
uh, if I can probably just add over here, see,
Sure, sure.
yes, you rightly stated that when there is mess, there is also less competition. But trust me, when it comes to this industry, the competition is not less. It's how I'm able to place myself. So when we started, I actually told you that we are one of the premium hiring solutions company for hotel industry. The reason why I mentioned premium is because almost every second, third person who has been working in the hotel, probably inside the kitchen, or has spent a certain amount of time within a particular hotel, will have a lot of people to ensure that they are able to hire for various different hotels. Why I mentioned premium is because, one, I am placing a particular charge which is much higher than what usually you would find as a consultant. Okay.
Okay.
The second
Okay.
is, when there is mess, as I mentioned, there is also opportunity. And the opportunity in this business is the fact that it has a broken supply chain. Very few
Yes.
people actually are able to accept the fact that the hotel industry has a broken supply chain when it comes to a talent industry. So we do not have buzzwords like AI, deep tech, ed tech, higher tech, or for that matter ML. Okay, it's such a mess that people in this industry in certain cases do not even know how to write a resume. Forget writing a resume. There
True.
are people who, the moment you say आपके पास आपका resume है, CV है, बायोडेटा है, बोलते सर आपको मेरा आधार कार्ड चाहिए क्या, मैं आधार कार्ड देता हूँ. They don't know what is a
Yeah.
resume. Okay,
True.
and if in this kind of a mess, if you say I have an ML system or I have an ATS system where I can measure CVs, it's already a disaster. But then here comes the point where in that mess you're able to find the gold mine and say, you know what, this industry does not run on tech, it runs on human skills. So that's where when the opportunity actually struck, and I identified that this is where digital might not work, but a phygital will work. When I say phygital, it is combination of physical skills and digital. So that's how it works.
And that was the end of segment one. And now we are moving into deep into what you're building about your company, right? So
Sure.
explain Hoppy Mobility like I am a restaurant owner who is struggling to run my business.
So if you're running a restaurant, your biggest headache is not really your customers. It's actually the staff which is probably not showing up. Maybe high attrition or probably no control on the number of deliveries, no tracking of the total number of orders. In certain cases, the orders are tracked, but then probably you don't really know if someone probably might just turn up today or not. Consistency of the kind of food that you're supposed to be ensuring for the clients, for the customers, or probably the service level of consistency when it comes to a resort or a boutique hotel. Uh, but from the outside, what happens is hotel industry is seen as food industry primarily, but then it is also an experience industry. Food
True, true.
is one of the, if I have to say,
Experience.
attributes of that experience that the guest takes back. And when you actually walk into a hotel where you are going for a fine dine or a lounge bar, when you order food, when you order drinks, from that moment that the person has actually asked you to take a seat is where your experience of that particular restaurant, hotel, or resort starts. So you actually go take a seat. The way the menu is handed over to you, the way it is probably explained to you in case if you ask for, the way the food has been presented in front of you. So you actually start right from the minute you walk into that particular place. Food, if I have to say for that matter, food, you don't just eat food, you first see the food. You feel the food when you're being described or when you see that menu. Okay. When it comes in front of you, you see that food. There's a visual orgasm in your mind that you can see. Okay. Then there is the taste. Before the taste also comes the smell. It's the presentation. When it is placed in front of your on your plate, when you eat it, you enjoy that taste. But before you enjoy the taste, you've actually gone through the visual presentation. You've gone through that of the smell, the aroma of that food, the
Yeah.
presentation.
Yeah.
Okay. And then after that, once the food has been eaten, it's not just that your tummy is full, you've actually had a soulful meal now. This cannot
Yeah.
be done by AI or ML. Okay. It has to be done by an experience. Someone who's sitting
Yeah.
in the restaurant's kitchen has actually prepared that food with a lot of passion, with a lot of love. Yes, with a lot of SOPs also. But
Yeah.
then what you see, what you eat is not the SOP, it is that food, the taste, it is the experience, it is that
Yeah. Yeah.
the taste buds that are exploding in your mouth and giving you that impression, okay, fine, I've had good food, I've had good wine, I've had a good time while having food with my friends, with my family, so on and so forth. That for a restaurant, that appreciation when it goes to a restaurant owner, you know what, I like the food, I like the ambience, I like the way the people, your staff is actually very polite, I like the way they've actually greeted me, they gave us a seat. Even when the restaurant was full, I was not asked to wait too long. Or even when the resort was full, I had done the booking, there was someone who was probably taking longer to check out, but then the reception people, they made me feel welcome. I was given an alternate accommodation, maybe not the one that I had booked, but something which was better off, maybe an upgrade, may not have been an upgrade, probably something of the same range, but then I was given that welcoming feeling. It's that experience for a restaurant owner, for a hotel owner, for a resort owner that counts. To the outside world, it's this cannot be
They don't.
described.
Yeah. So, if I own a restaurant, what are the top three problems I face daily?
Three major problems: inconsistency when it comes to staff, rather,
Mm-hmm.
if I have to say, some people, we call them running profiles. So these people keep
Yeah.
running away. Then there are some people who stay back. Second is when it comes to consistency in the experience of the food of that particular hotel or restaurant, or for that matter,
Mhm.
a restaurant or
Mhm.
lounge bar or resort, whatever you might call it. The third
Mhm.
one is the consistency that is required for the guest experience, no matter what happens. uh, it doesn't
Okay.
come from Instagram worthy interiors. It doesn't come from just the food. It doesn't come just from the presentation, or the way a menu is presented. It comes from the people who actually are helping you run that hotel or the restaurant. It is actually the staff.
Yeah.
This is the most important thing that a restaurant owner or a resort or a hotel hospitality group owner would find as a challenge. And this is what we actually at Hoppy try and ensure that we help them with.
So, what makes your approach different from traditional agencies?
Majority of the traditional agencies, Avinan, they would ideally try and push only resumes. So if
Yes.
someone probably has hired an agency stating that they require an X number of staff, it could be right from the table boy who's serving just water or cleaning the table before and after the guest has left, to the general manager or the rooms division manager for that particular hotel, resort, or property. Uh,
Yeah.
what happens is most agencies just keep forwarding a CV, and then uh, the hotel guy, in certain cases, they have to place their own resource to hire this place. They have to go through the entire rigmarole of conducting interviews, shortlisting, so on and so forth. What we do differently is that we take off the entire problem of screening, shortlisting, background verification, getting that person on for the interview round, and ensuring that the person is joining after the interview round, not one but four different interviews. So the initial two interviews are conducted by us, where we do the screening and the shortlisting just to identify the right profile and the right fit for that particular candidate, and for in this case the client also. The second is ensuring that the client is actually getting those shortlisted CVs now, and this client is actually only speaking to those shortlisted candidates who have been background verified. Okay, and the third part is ensuring that we are able to get that follow up done with the candidate to ensure that they are joining, because in
Yeah.
our industry, or for that matter anywhere in HR industry, the problem is after the candidate has been shortlisted, they at times they don't just come for the interview, or they vanish just before joining, or in certain cases after joining within a week or probably within a month, they just end up disappearing. So we ensure that we are there right from the start to the end, and we ensure that even if someone has disappeared after joining, we are able to give them a replacement immediately. That's
So
how we
the
partner
sorry.
with the restaurant. We are not just vendors for them.
Yeah. Yeah. And the in this recruitment process, the final call will be made by hotels.
Yes, definitely.
And how do you make money in this model? Is it service based, subscription, or something else?
So this is actually something that we've identified and evolved. Initially, it was service based. Uh, then we also had a hiring model where it was a hybrid hiring model of service plus subscription, because as we evolved, as we identified the pattern in the hotel industry, as I mentioned, there are specific profiles where we call them running profiles, and most hoteliers would actually tell you that
Mm.
there are some people who do not stay beyond 3, 4, 5 months in a particular place. It's a vicious cycle actually, and this is where we stated, rather than giving you a person and then charging you a one-time fee, we'll give you a
Mm.
hybrid model where even if someone is leaving within 3 months, 4 months, or in certain cases after 6 months also, we will still give you a
Mm.
replacement, and we will charge you only for that particular number of days or the number of months that the person has been there.
Good, good.
So
Nice.
that's a subscription based
So,
model, and then obviously this service based model also, which is a one-time fee.
can you tell me a one harsh truth and or secret in the hospitality industry that no one talks about?
uh, I wouldn't say no one knows about, but then yeah, majority of the people, a lot of people will not acknowledge this problem. Everyone knows about this. In fact, there has been a LinkedIn series that I have been running in the past few days. Every hotelier knows the problem, acknowledges the fact that they know about it, but they will not speak about it. And the fact is that the problem, as I mentioned, is the running profiles. A lot of people who are candidates for the hotel industry, they will join, they will stay probably for 2 3 months, and then they will disappear. This is a vicious cycle both from the candidate side and from the hotelier side. Uh, the point over here is that because the hoteliers have been facing this problem from the candidates right from the start, they do not trust the candidates, and because the candidates have been facing a problem from the hotelier side, whether it is accommodation, whether it is delayed salaries, whether it is staggered salaries, or in certain cases uh, not the right kind of fit, or multiple profiles, multiple job roles, responsibilities given for only a small package or a small industry of pay scale, the trust factor from both the sides doesn't exist.
Mm.
But the
Mhm.
irony is that both are interdependent on each other for survival. If the
True.
hotelier doesn't have staff, they cannot run the
Mm.
restaurant. If the staff is
True.
not having the job of a hotel, they don't have salaries. So they both need each other, but they don't trust each other.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, do you? I mean, are you just operating in Mumbai or any other places as well?
So we started our operations slightly outside of Mumbai, but then today we have clients in Mumbai, in Pune, in Mahabaleshwar, Lonavala. Majority, if I have to say, in Maharashtra. So right from tourist places like Alibag, Igatpuri, Mahabaleshwar, Lonavala, Panchgani, uh, and Pune and Mumbai have been always our bastions. We have now got clients in Jaipur. We've got a few clients which are from Gujarat, Surat, Ahmedabad, Vadodara. A few clients which are from, so not very big clients, but then some clients which are from Manali, Leh Ladakh. Uh, there are one or two resorts that we have now in Kasauli, in Goa. We've got some in on the highway between Haryana and if I'm not wrong, Haryana, Punjab, and Mohali. Those these are hotels which are hotels which are for keys. I mean, where you actually stop over only if you're traveling, to the northern side, and
Yeah, yeah,
then we've got some hotels there is a hospitality group which is uh, in the northeast, which is majorly present in the northeast, and now it is actually making its presence felt in the north as well as in the south of India. So yes, we do have a mix, but then yes, majorly our clientele is from Maharashtra.
yeah. Okay. So, how do you manage all these?
By sitting in this office and by speaking on the phone, but at the same time, the clients who are in Maharashtra, uh, me and in all probability at least one or two people from my team, we do try and visit at least the clients who are in Maharashtra, right from the people, the clients who are in Lonavala and Mahabaleshwar. So we visit them at least once in 2 to 2.5 months. So we go and visit not just the client, we also go and visit the candidate who has been placed by us. Uh, and the reason for this
Mm.
is, what happens is majority of these candidates, they come from a different state, or even if they are not from a different state, they come from a different city. They usually have their accommodation in the hotel that they are staying, and
Yeah.
when they have come, because we have hired them from various different places, the employee in our office who has actually been speaking to this particular candidate becomes the RM for that particular candidate. So the RM has been speaking to this candidate on and off almost every 15 20 days, even after 7 months or 8 months of the candidate being hired. But then when they see a face along with that voice, they feel that okay, fine, someone outside my house, outside in this city, is actually someone who's coming to visit me, to ask me, he's calling me up just to check whether my comfort level is of primary importance to this person, because he wants to ensure that I'm comfortable wherever I have been placed, and they stick along, they stick along longer. So this is what we do. We end up visiting all our clients. Majorly in Maharashtra, I actually go and visit at least 1.5 2 months to all my clients in Maharashtra. And there have been some clients who've been telling me that why don't you come over here also. I'm like, okay, fine. You have to probably give me a day's travel, and I might just come in. We've recently started getting some clients. So there are some clients who have come from Dubai. Recently signed a contract for Dubai, but then I guess due to the geopolitical situation right now, the hiring for Dubai has been kept on hold.
You eat restaurant food every day, almost.
No, I don't. I
You don't?
prefer to avoid restaurant food when I'm at home, and
Okay.
unfortunately, I'm home only 4 or 5 days throughout. If I have to say, every 15 days, 4 or 5 days I'm at home. So Mondays and probably a Friday evening, I'm usually at home. I'm in the office rather where I go home, and on a second and fourth Saturday, I'm at home. But otherwise, I'm usually visiting my clients. So although I detest it, but I have to eat restaurant food when I'm visiting the client. But then when I come back home, even if it at at times at 2 a.m. in the morning, if I reach back home, I prefer to have home food.
Good. Good. Always best. Home food is always best. So, have you ever been to Leh and Ladakh?
Yes, I have been, but that was for family vacation. Although I have
Okay.
a client
Okay.
now over there,
How does it look like? Is it good?
it is
I never been there
fabulous.
before.
It's just fabulous. It's one of the most beautiful places that I've ever seen. In my travelings.
And some places we can't describe them. You just have to go and visit. So hopefully, I will go and visit it in the near future. So, and what is harder, building tech or managing people?
It's definitely managing people. Tech is see, you can make a tech or an AI as intelligent as a human. Okay, but a human, so a tech can be predictable. Humans are
Yeah,
not predictable.
true, true,
They
true,
have a pattern, but there are again predictability keeps changing. So it's difficult to manage humans first.
true. And that was the end of segment two. And now we have a five mini game series. They should last around one game should last around 1 minute. So I will
Okay,
start with game one, hire or fire. Okay. So I will give you a scenario. You just have to explain bad employee scenario. I will give you a question and you have to explain what is a bad employee scenario. Okay. HF who is skilled but always late. Is it good or bad?
a chef who is good but always late,
Yeah.
immediately fire. Please don't keep
A rider who is fast but rude.
fire.
Now game two, profit or loss. Okay.
Profit or loss. Okay,
I will give you. Yeah. I give you business decisions. So high rent location,
high
profit or
rent
loss.
location. It's a loss.
Expensive interiors, profit or loss.
Uh, I wouldn't call it a profit. It might be necessary in some places, but definitely expensive is definitely a loss. It can look
Yeah, and it also
good even without being expensive.
true, true, and it also depends on what kind of hotel and who are your customers. Depends on the brand value.
It kind of depends on quite a few factors: the target audience, the location, what kind of cafe or a hotel that you are probably trying to put up, or if it's in a particular location that way depends.
Low cost staffing, profit or loss.
Definitely a loss.
And game three, reality check.
Okay.
So I will say you assumptions. You just have to say truth or myth. Okay. Is it true or false? I mean, true or truth or myth.
Okay.
Good food is success. Truth or myth.
No, it's a myth. Good food is good, but just because of that, it's success. No, it's a myth.
More staff is equals to better service.
Definitely a myth.
High pricing is premium brand.
Not always. Uh, it could swing both ways. It's not always.
Yeah. And now game four, build or avoid. Okay. I will
Okay.
give you scenarios. You have to answer build or avoid. Okay. And now first one, restaurant chain, build or avoid.
Restaurant chain build. Definitely build.
Yeah. Okay. So actually, me along with my friends wanna build a QSR brand called What Stuff. So this is premiumized. So not premiumized, but westernized Indian snack, but westernized way. So I don't know how it goes like.
You definitely need to have an SOP for that.
I mean, I have experience in working there, so I know how to cook and how to do things, but have to see how it goes. And cloud kitchen, build or avoid.
100% build.
Okay. Delivery startup.
Um, a little bit of caution, but avoid because the two delivery startups which are already in the market, uh, they have a major share right now. Unless you can come up with something extremely, extremely unique which they have not been doing or they have not done, avoid.
Recruitment platform, build, avoid.
Recruitment platform, yes,
Yeah.
definitely a build.
Game 5 in 30 seconds to 1 minute, under 30 seconds to 1 minute, you have to advise someone opening their first restaurant. So let's say I am opening my first QSR brand.
Okay.
So I need an advice from you in 1 minute.
Okay, so if you're building a restaurant or a QSR, uh, I mean, please do not build it only because you love food. Please open it only if you understand the operations of a restaurant. The business is going to test you every day. The staff might not just show up. Costs will probably just go up. Unexpected, raw materials may not necessarily be available. Things could go wrong the moment you probably are feeling that this is going to be the best day, and you might just least expect it. So, so focus on building systems rather than just because you love food. And majority of the cafes, they actually do the same mistake.
Yes, 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 yes. They build infrastructure first, then they have to bear the losses. So I mean, I have a say in this. I would say that before you building a restaurant or before hiring any building for that, I would say just test your market for 1 week. Wherever you are planning, just go there, stand over there for 1 week, and see how many people are interested in buying your stuff, what you're selling. And you don't have to charge them anything. You just have to check if they are going to buy your stuff or not. I would say that.
Actually, yes, because see, just to give you an example, uh, I mean, you probably find a lot of cafes springing up almost every second day in a new place. Every second, probably, a shop or if I have to say, a gala is now becoming a cafe, either coffee or continental food, pizzas, burgers, so on and so forth. Trust me, a lot of these cafes are coming up purely because someone thinks that this cafe working on the opposite side of the road is working fantastically. I'm going to build the same kind of a cafe, probably give better interiors, and I'm going to hire someone who's going to make good food, and then my cafe is going to be, the place to be for all the entire crowd. All these things are going to just shut down. That's not the case.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
A cafe
And now,
has the,
sorry.
if I in my experience, a cafe which is sprung up in a place which is closer to probably if I have to say a college or close by to a hostel area will shut down within 18 to 20 months,
True, true,
and you will
true,
find at
true.
least 50 cafes around that same place within a 1.5 kilometer radius over there. Almost every cafe will have something unique to speak of, something unique as a taste, something unique to show off when it comes to the interiors. But then they may not survive beyond an 18 or 20, 24 month period because someone just stated that, okay, I'm going to come up over here because I love this food or because this cafe is earning better and I feel that my cafe will earn much better. No, it doesn't work like that.
True. And I have final few three questions. So, are delivery apps helping restaurants or killing them?
Uh, So this is actually chicken was actually paying slightly higher than this, say 145 for the particular dish, and then they are paying a certain packaging charges. Then there is a delivery charge in case of rains or in case of bad weather. It is a weather charge. Then there is a delivery service charge, which they feel that delivery is free because they've taken a subscription, but that is not the case. They've actually ended up paying 140 rupees for something which ideally would have been 100 rupees on the menu. But on the flip
Yeah.
side, the the hotel owner, ideally who should have received at least 100 rupees for that dish, ends up receiving only 93, or in certain cases at best 97 rupees. So it's actually 3 4 rupees lesser than the actual menu cost. Yes, it is volume, but it is also killing.
Okay. And what is the biggest cost leak in restaurant business?
Definitely hiring, definitely not training them, definitely not being consistent.
If someone want to start a restaurant today, what should they absolutely avoid?
uh, so one thing I've been telling all those people who come to me for consultation to start hotels or restaurant is that when you're starting something, do the interiors, but don't overspend on the interiors. So you need to have an ambience, agree, but the ambience can
Yeah.
be done without really spending too much. You can still look rich, you can still look very good without really, spending expensive. Second is, yes, branding is required, but then a hotel or a restaurant, a day in day out eatery will have to probably just spend only for between 3 4 up to 5 kilometer radius, whereas a resort can spend on the marketing for up to say 100 150 kilometer radius, not beyond that. If you're spending more purely on the radius, or trying to get more audience by spending on that particular thing, it is definitely not going to work for you. And the other thing is, rather than doing spending more on this, please spend more on the people who will make your restaurant, make your resort, make your hotel look good, feel good for the customer, who will then keep coming back and give you repeat business, rather than putting all those, if I have to say, fancy chandeliers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Invest in the people, invest in training them, invest in that systems which can give you that process, invest in that system which can give you consistency, stability for the staff that you hire. And that's going to be
Yeah.
your, if I have to say,
I mean
the crux of
that.
your business.
Yeah. That is actually amazing. So instead of spending, I mean, I don't say you don't have it, but instead of spending lakhs and lakhs for them, chandeliers and shiny stuff, I would say ha, hire better, more people. I mean, not more people, but better people who can serve their
Better
customers with the intent that they want to bring brand value there to the work, to their workplace.
actually, yes.
And last question is, who are your customers, and what do you want to say them?
My customer is any and every person who feels that hospitality is something that is of a experience business. Okay, anyone who has a hotel, a restaurant, a cafe, a lounge bar, and wants to run it smoothly, not just because they want to make people eat good food, but they also want to give that experience of a lifetime as a memory to that person. It could be through the taste of the food, it could be through the the decor, the way they are sitting, or it could be uh, because of the location that they are in, but more with the people who would be actually handing that guest. So all those people who think that, they definitely are my clients. But anyone who feels that I can probably just wrap maybe a burger, who's maybe a patty with two buns, and create a burger by wrapping it and saying, okay, fine, this is your food, and you can get it for say 25 rupees, because the other one, which is a bigger brand, probably sends it for 125 rupees. That definitely is not my customer.
Yeah. And my final one, so I should have asked this before. So when you're recruiting, where do you recruit from, and if someone want to work for you, what do they have to do?
So one, I recruit from almost the entire length and breadth of the country. Candidates can come in from anywhere. There have been some candidates who've actually applied from international locations, but then obviously the price, the salary range, the experience, that has to match, and then obviously the property has to match accordingly. But then primarily it is from Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand, West Bengal, Karnataka, Kerala. in certain cases Haryana. Uh, these are the major places. People from the northeast, a lot of people from the northeast. These are the kind of people that usually we hire for the hotel industry. And for the last mile delivery services, obviously it is people, in that particular location where the last mile delivery services are required, beat any client. And they should have their own two-wheeler, vehicle where they can deliver.
Yeah. So how do they have to approach you?
We have various job portals. We actually, post in a lot of job portals. Majority of these job portals are specifically for the blue collared and for the hospitality industry. So to say, the ones which are, if I can name a few job portals, it's Jobs
Yeah,
Hai,
yeah, sure.
it's Apna Hire, Work India,
Yeah.
Indeed, WorkX, and then Local. These are the kind of jobs that we have. Jobs, Hotel Jobbers is one of the primary portals that we refer to when we want to hire for hospitality industry. Job for hoteliers, hotel jobbers, majorly from the hospitality industry.
Yeah, sure. And thank you for joining. And I wish you very best luck. And
Thank you so
hopefully,
much.
we shall meet you soon. And before you leave, I just want to say that now whatever the job portals you said, can you please leave me a message of that names so that I will post them in my description as well. If someone want to apply for your place or somewhere else, they can easily apply for it.
Definitely. As far as
Yeah.
applying is concerned, even if you probably look at our website, a lot of candidates can directly apply to us on the website. They can send us a mail. So we have a mail ID which is info@hoppymobility.in where they can apply. We have our WhatsApp numbers, where they can apply. There are quite a few WhatsApp numbers which are advertised on our website. They have been there, although we don't really advertise on others. Uh, so then again, we have our own Insta where people can apply. So I can give
Yeah.
you that as well. As something that I would like to, put this as a parting note over here, Abhinan, is that what
Yeah.
I mean, if I have to say, like you mentioned that you wanted to open a QSR or restaurant. So if you're already running a restaurant, struggling with operations, struggling with the daily chaos, what you need to do is not look at the food. You need to look at the people. Fix that system where the people who are being hired, they need to be one given that reassurance. And when if you feel that it is uh, the operational chaos that you're facing, we are always there. Hoppy is always there to help you. So we are always there when it comes to hospitality hiring. We are always there trying to fix that system and ensure that we put in a process in place, which we have successfully done for quite a few of our clients. We've trained a lot of people. We actually go to a lot of properties, and we've trained their existing staff right from housekeeping to front office to, if I have to say, utilities. In certain cases, guest relationship, even how to say a no to certain specific requirements when the guest comes up and says, I want this kind of service. Maybe it's the requirement of the guest, but then at that possible point of time, it's not available. So we've also trained how to say a no very politely, but at the same time offer something, which the guest doesn't feel that they've lost out something, or the experience of the guest is not lowered in any way. In fact, they'll end up feeling that okay, they've won something better. So that's how we've come into the picture and state that we are able to partner with you, and we're always there for that.